All right, this woman asked Dr. Naik a very powerful and important question. She said she have come to realize that the faith of Muslims in Islam is not built on the motivation of doing what is right or on the spiritual and supernatural encounter, but on the fear instilled in them, the terror of Allah, the fear of hell, the fear of what will be done to them when they leave Islam. Then she asked, shouldn't religion or their faith be built on the motivation of doing what is right, on what inspires them, on the spiritual or supernatural encounter, rather than on the fear of Allah, the fear of hell, the fear of what will be done to them when they leave Islam? Now, let us watch and see what response Dr. Naik is going to give about this question.
Yeah, the question?
She have a question.
Yes, sister, most welcome.
Good evening, Dr. Naik.
Good evening.
My name is Perin Abbas. I am born in a Muslim family, but not a practicing Muslim because I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. So my profession is that of a management trainer and a life coach. My question for you today is, I see a lot of Muslims around me, they follow the religion because of fear. Fear of Allah, fear of going to hell. And my question to you is that shouldn't this be based on motivation to do the right thing as opposed to fear of burning in hell or roasting in hell, as I've seen in some of your other lectures?
Sister asked.
Yeah.
Yes, anything else?
No, this is it. Thank you.
Sister asked a very good question. That she sees around, she says that she's born in a Muslim family, not a practicing Muslim. Inshallah, we pray that she becomes practicing from today, inshallah.
Dr. Zakir, there is another woman. She's also Christian.
Sorry?
We have another lady, she is Christian.
After, let me answer the question first.
Sure.
The sister said that she sees around the Muslims that many a time they follow the teachings of Islam because of fear. So shouldn't it be, fear is not right, it should be love. Why people follow because of fear? Sister, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives guidance in the Quran. And while giving guidance, He gets people to the straight path in three ways. With fear, with love, and with logic. Depending upon the requirement, the best is love. Even logic is very good, alhamdulillah. Even fear is good, depending upon the situation. Sister, I would like to ask you a question. Suppose, are you married?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Maybe your younger brother. Fine? Younger brother who's 5 years old, hypothetically. He wants to jump from the 10th floor. You tell with love, no brother, don't jump. He yet wants to jump. What will you do? Will you slap him or not?
Yes.
When you slap him, he gets scared. He will not jump. I will tell, oh sister, you're a terrorist. You're making your younger brother scared. First you tried with love, he's not listening to you. You slap him, he gets scared, he doesn't jump. Your reason was you are cruel to be kind. You are cruel to be kind. You slap him because he is illogical. He doesn't understand the matter with love. Because if he jumps, he will die. So to prevent him from dying, you are slapping him, he gets scared, he benefits. You may or may not benefit, but he is benefiting. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He speaks with love, He speaks with logic, He even puts sometimes fear. So then He also attracts people with Jannah. That if you do good deeds, you go to Jannah. Love each other, help your neighbors. When you're helping others, so all these things, one is reason and logic, one is fear, one is love. Fear is also a factor which does really help a lot, because those who are not logical and those who don't believe in love, fear helps. And once, when they try following with fear, once he becomes the adult, then he doesn't require fear. Then logically he will not jump. Correct, sister?
Correct. The thing that children are brought up, at least I've been brought up with mainly fear of Allah. So it's generally to do with if you don't do it, this is going to happen. So there was less of...
What I would say that the people who brought you up did not bring you up in the right way. But now they won't be responsible. You will be responsible because you're an adult, sister. Now you're an adult. You cannot say because the people who brought me up, because they brought me up with fear, no, I'm not a practicing Muslim. Allah will question you. Now you heard the lecture of Quran and science. Was there any fear in it? Yes, the last statement did say about the pain receptors, but that was scientific. Fear was involved in it, but it was scientific. What I'm asking you, after you hear this lecture, don't you think Quran should be followed?
Yes.
So now you have no excuse. You had excuse till yesterday. Till yesterday you could say that the people who bought me, they bought me up with fear, therefore I'm not a practicing Muslim. Now when you heard a logical lecture and there's a question answer time, that what you feel is not right in Islam, you can question. After this, you will not have an excuse that why you're not following Islam. So everything has a reason and logic. Fear is one factor which may be used for those people who are illogical or less incensed. So that may be temporary, sister. Now surely that after you have heard this lecture which is based on reason and logic and science, you have no excuse for not following Islam. And anything what you don't know, the Quran says, ask the person who knows. So anything you think about Islam, that fine, Islam says that, it may say that you have to fast. If you don't fast, you go to hell. You can ask a scientific person, I can give a talk on scientific talk on what is the benefit of fasting. So those people who don't understand reason and logic, they may get convinced for fear. Some people may say when you fast you go to Jannah. So there are different strategies used by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is our creator. He knows what is required and how do we behave. So based on that, fear many a times is helpful in getting a person on the straight path. But the moment the fear is removed, that person should stand on his own feet and be able to do the things correctly, not because of fear. Finally, it is because of love and because of reason and logic that he wants to go to Jannah and he wants to benefit, sister. So I hope, inshallah, from today you'll be a practicing Muslim, inshallah, sister.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Alright, this might look like he answered the question the woman asked, but he didn't. Yes, I understand the question the woman asked. I understand perfectly. The woman is trying to say that to be a Muslim is like to be in the bondage of fear. Let me explain. Every religion has the fear of the judgment day. Even Christianity, there is fear of the judgment day. But the difference between the teachings of Jesus Christ and the teachings of Muhammad is this. Jesus taught love, peace, forgiveness, mercy, tolerance, self-control. All his teachings, he showed the example in himself. That is what is called the way of life. He taught us the way to achieve salvation, the way to gain eternal life. Alright? And when he has taught us all these things, he commanded his apostles, he warned them not to force any man, not to force the belief upon any man. Anyone that accepts the message, peace for him and his glory on the judgment day. But anyone that refuses to accept your message, on the judgment day, he will not face the terror of the judgment day. But at the moment, they are left with freedom of choice. Not like Muhammad. You can see the difference between the teachings of Jesus Christ and that of Muhammad. For that of Muhammad, the beginning of his movement and his teachings is sword. And his commandment is this: fight all those who don't believe. So it is by force. They are to capture people by any means possible, even with sword. And they are to keep them with the fear of what will be done to them if they leave, which is the law of apostasy. Keep them by force. Yet, they are also going to face the terror of the judgment day. So is it not like people are being held in the bondage of fear? My friends, I want you to be reasonable. Myself as a Christian, what if I am wrong? What if I am wrong? Then I am to force people to remain in my religion and threaten them with the law of apostasy. If you leave, we are going to do this to you. What if I am wrong? So what if you are wrong? That means in your ignorance, you are going to destroy many on the judgment day. You force and convert people to be part of your religion and kept them with sword. So on the judgment day, are you going to answer for them or are they going to answer for themselves? If they are going to answer for themselves, that means the free will and the choice is their own. You are not going to answer for them. Therefore, don't force them. And don't give any excuse, any ignorant excuse that Allah is forcing men to be saved. No. It's a choice. Everyone, every individual have to make for themselves. No man is forced into hell and no man is forced into heaven. It is your choice. The earlier you know this, the better for you. The woman has a point in her question, just that many of them are short-sighted to see the truth.
Good evening, Mr. Zakir Naik. My name is Karan, and I am a chartered accountant by profession. Actually, a few days back, I started viewing your lectures on YouTube. Firstly, I was very, you can say, irritated by the talks you give. But as and when I explore your more talks, so I was like 80 to 90% convinced what you say is right. And now I have a specific question on where Islam allows more than one marriage for a male. The reason which I found given by you is the number of females in the world is more than the males. So this is one of the reasons you gave, and I don't know whether it comes out of your logic or the logic of some other scholars or the logic given by the Quran. So I just want to clarify from where this logic has come.
Brother, mashallah, he has been seeing my lectures since a few months. Initially was irritated, then he realized that 80-90% is right. I'm here to convince the balance 10-20%, inshallah, brother.
Thanks a lot.
He asked the question that when I said in my answer that why does Islam allow a man to have more than one wife, one of the reasons I rightly said is that the female population is more than the male population. He's asking me, is it my logic or is it the logic of the Quran? The Quran doesn't mention the reason. The Quran is a telegraphic message. Sometimes it mentions the reason, sometimes it doesn't mention. For example, alcohol, it says, in it is more loss, less profit. The details are not given. In the Quran about marrying more than one wife, it's not mentioned because the female population more. It is my research, and from my research I have analyzed that. But when you go on the net today, what you get the statistics today is not correct. For example, many statistics that you get in these ratio on the net is not correct. For example, it says that the population of Qatar, the men are 3 times more than female. I was shocked, how is it possible? Then I came to know it is not the Qatari. Many people, because the Qataris are so less, hardly about 150,000. There are many people from outside coming to work. And when most of the workers are male, so it is not the Qatar population, it is the Qatar mixed with expatriates. So everything what you find in the net may sometimes shock you, it is not correct. So when you do better research, you come to know. So as far as today's thing is concerned, there are more females in the world than the male. That's the reason, one of the reasons why polygamy is allowed, and the other reason given in my answer. Is there any question on that?
No, thanks, not on that.
You only want to know, is it my reasoning or is it the Quran's reasoning?
Yeah, just that.
No, Quran says that, as you heard my talk, that one of the reasons is because the population of the female is more,
Right.
and the male population is less.
Yeah, right.
And if every man marries one woman, then there will be many women who will not get husbands.
Right.
So the only option for them is either they marry a man who already has a wife or become public property. Now, you may say public property, it is a very harsh verse. It is the best verse I can think of. Like in USA alone, there are more than 4 million females more than male. In Russia alone, there are 10.3 million females more than male. If every man in Russia or in America marries a woman, yet there will be 10.3 million in Russia and more than 4 million in USA who won't find husbands. So the only option remaining for them is that they either marry a man who already has a wife or become public property. And but naturally, any modest woman would prefer marrying a man who already has a wife than become public property. Hope that answers the question.
Okay, thanks.
So now you're convinced. I would like to know from you, brother, which is the 10-20% you want more clarification on?
Actually, I am convinced to an extent, but if you take an interpretation out of the sacred books, then if I am a non-Muslim and if I read a Quran, so I will not get the same meaning if an Islamist read that.
No, it's not necessary.
So if we leave it to interpretation, then there may be the interpretation for other scriptures also.
No, interpretation is there, but it should not contradict the meaning. You cannot interpret with the wrong meaning. Find a person who has more knowledge. It's not necessary that a Muslim can interpret better than a non-Muslim. Keith Moore was a non-Muslim. Keith Moore, he's a non-Muslim. He interpreted the Quran better than the Muslims. What the Quran says in Surah Nahl chapter 16 verse 43 and Surah Anbiya chapter 20 verse number 7, Fas'alu ahla zikri in kuntum la ta'lamun. Ask the person who is an expert. So in embryology, he was an expert, a non-Muslim. His interpretation of embryology is far better than the Muslim because he's an expert. So to interpret the Quran, you have to go to the expert in that field. If the Quran speaks about fiqh, about lugha, then go to an Arabic expert. If the Quran speaks about science, go to a scientist. So in this example I gave in my talk, the non-Muslim scientists, they interpreted the Quran better. The same way if you read the Quran, it's not necessary you don't understand. You may understand better than a Muslim. But I want to know that which 10-20% are not convinced about. So I will convince you on that also.
So that again, I'll come to your next session, and inshallah, I will be convinced 100%.
Okay, very next. See, we don't know when next session will be there. What happens actually, we say inshallah, you're saying inshallah, that's good, inshallah means God willing. You don't know how long you're going to live. So my next schedule to come is in March 2014, inshallah, when they have the peace convention. The third peace convention when they have in 2014, March or April, that will be my next public lecture, inshallah. But you don't know whether I will live till that time or not.
No, but we hope so.
We hope so, but now if you have any queries and if you're convinced now, do you believe there's one God?
I believe in one God. I believe.
Do you believe Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of God?
I don't 100% agree because I have not read the...
Wow. Most people can be very, very amazing. So the reason you people could give to why you marry so many wives, 4 or more, is that the population of women in the world are more than men. There are many women, there are more women than men. Well, that's a very good reason. It's an acceptable reason. But with your own mouth, you confessed and agree and confirm that there are more women in the world more than men. The population of women are higher. Yet, your eyes are still on small girls who have not yet come up to the age of marriage. You want to force them out of childhood into marriage as if there are no women in the world, as if the world is lacking women. The reason you give is no reason at all, but simply lust and lack of self-control.